Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel where today you join me with once again, of course, another BMW. Now this one looks very similar. It's a 3 Series Touring and it is in Dravit Grey. I've driven one of these before, but this one with a slight difference. This one is a 330e. So it's actually the first hybrid that I've driven. So no experience at all, apart from a couple of weekends ago when I drove this around 50 miles just to get a bit of experience with it, I guess. But other than that, that's the first time I've ever touched a hybrid. So today is the sort of looking into it and trying to get to grips with the whole system, see what it's all about, whether it would benefit me, who I think it would benefit the most, and whether it'd be worth getting one. Now, like I said, it's in a lovely Dravit Grey paintwork, which in this sunlight pops really nice. It's like almost like a flat grey, but as you get closer to it and you see the paint starts to pop, it's got like a goldy bronze metallic fleck in the paintwork. Quite subtle, but it does stand out really nicely when the sun decides to come out. Quite a lot of options on this car. There's almost £10,000 worth of options, including pretty much all of the packs, the Comfort Pack, Technology Pack, the M Sport Pro Pack, that's on there as well. We've got the full panoramic roof, that's another £1,000 option. We've got that. We've got the sun protection / privacy glass, that is also on there. Yeah, so a very well spec'd car. Outside of the car, there's not too much different to look at. Inside, we've had a bit of an update. I think it's been about 18 months since I last drove a 3 Series Touring. So in that time, we have got the iDrive 8 is now in the car. Sorry, the iDrive 8.5 is now in the car, so that is added in Android Auto. Interior, we got the lovely oyster grey stitched Vanasca leather seats as optional extra again, but they are very comfortable. Feel a bit tight at the minute where they're brand new leather seats, but I'm sure they'll bed in within a few months. And the colour of the oyster grey / cream seats actually contrast with the Dravit Grey paintwork really nicely. But also, to break up the nice grey paintwork, we've also got these bright red calipers, which are free. It's a choice. You can either have the red or the blue. I suppose blue would probably have gone better for the hybrid look. So this video is not really going to concentrate so much on performance of the car, interior, exterior looks. I just want to sort of mainly focus on the hybrid system. Now, the first thing is that because it is a hybrid, although it can be charged by the petrol engine, it's still a plug-in hybrid. So let me just get the leads out of the boot if gesture control wants to work. Now, again, because it is a plug-in hybrid, it's not. This is where it all goes a bit over my head, because hybrid and EVs are new to me. But this is a standard, used to be free with the car when you bought it, but is now an optional extra. So that was nice of BMW. Your standard sort of trickle charger for at home. You plug in a plug socket, other end in your car, and this will trickle in the power overnight. It's not going to be a fast charger because this is a Cat 2 charger car, because it's only a plug-in hybrid. It can't accept the full supercharged ultra high power chargers that Teslas use at service stations and all that sort of stuff. So you're not going to get a full charge in 10 minutes because of power, voltage, ampage, wattage. But this also leads me on to the practicality of the charging side of things, which I mentioned in an EV video before. You have to think about charging it at home, whether it's actually going to be practical for you and your house, your household, whether you've got the facilities to have it set up or not. So if you are living in a second story, one bed apartment flat, it's not going to be practical to be dangling a 30-metre cable out the window across the road and trickling it into your car overnight. It's just not going to be viable. If you've got your own driveway with a socket on the side of the house, or can easily fit a socket on the side of your house, it's viable. But then again, this is the beauty of the hybrid system. If you don't want to charge it, or you can't be asked to charge it every night, then you can just go to the petrol station, fill up with petrol and carry on your journey. The petrol engine itself, the B48, 180-ish horsepower, 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, will put some charge into the car, but you're not going to get a full charge. It had a full charge when I left to come out here, and that full charge was 25 miles of range. It went up to 27 just by turning the ignition on. How that happens, I don't know. But by the time I'd got 1 mile down the road, it had dropped down to 23 again. So I just don't think it's actually possible to get the quoted figures. Saying that, the MPG side of things, people have said if you're just using the petrol engine, you're not getting nowhere near 30 mpg. You're only going to get about 25, 26. But one, it's a heavier car. The B58, I would say, is probably slightly B48 is slightly underpowered for the size and weight of car that it's trying to shift. Saying that, I have had better MPG than what other people have said, so it must purely be down to the driving style. I can get about 35, 40 on it. It's also the same engine that is in my 220i Grand Coupe, which on a long run I can get over 50 in. So it's very plausible, it's achievable. So combining the EV side, hybrid, and the petrol engine together, you should get some very nice, decent MPG figures. So I've never seen this before on a car. Now, from time to time you come across a fuel release cap or fuel cap release button on a car to unlock the cap for you to fill up with petrol. This one is for a slightly different reason. It's locked, but that's because the tank is pressurized. Now you have to, when you're slowing down to a crawl speed into a petrol station, you have to press this. You get a prompt come up on the screen saying preparing for refueling. It'll take a second or two, and then we'll unlock the cap, and then you can get out and fill it up with fuel. And apparently that is because the tank is pressurized to save the fuel that is in the tank, because if it's at atmospheric pressures, over time, if you're using EV all the time, that fuel will actually start to go off. And it's obviously bad for the engine, bad for economy. So I think they keep it pressurized because if it's under pressure, it won't go off. So that's a new one for me. Never knew that until earlier. But yeah, I might come in use at a quiz or something one day. I don't know. So straight away, it feels a little bit overwhelming with the driver's modes within the driver's mode. So you've got your standard free BMW driver's modes that you always get, your sport, hybrid this time instead of comfort, and electric instead of economy. I guess that they are the same thing. But when you go into each setting, sport, hybrid or electric, you've then got more individual settings within that, like a sub menu. So it's like, do you want sport or do you want extra boost, which is like a sport plus? Do you want hybrid or do you want hybrid eco pro, which this is where all sort of the new BMW intelligent routing comes into it. If you've got the sat nav built into it, it will, if you plan a route, if you use the sat nav to plan a route, say a long distance journey from west to east England, wherever you want to go, it will try and give you the most efficient route, but also plan into that route, given the statistics that are on the car, how much electricity you've got charged in the battery, how much fuel you've got on board. It will try and plan your stops, the most efficient stops within that journey. So it will say, right, although you've still got a third of a tank, we want you to stop off at this service station to fill up or charge, and then that should keep you going for the rest of the journey, and that'll be the most efficient way for you. Obviously you can ignore it and do whatever you want, but that's BMW trying to help you out along the way. But yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around the way these systems work, because I had 25 miles of electric power when I got in the car. It's been on charge, it's been on like trickle charge overnight. Just by sitting in the car, sorting this camera out and having the aircon on low just to get the heat out, because obviously it's a lovely sunny day, it somehow put 2 miles of charge on the battery. But within 10 seconds of driving, that's dropped down again. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what the system's thinking there. But BMW expects that on a full battery charge, obviously this isn't a full EV, it's just a hybrid, so it's only a little battery, that you will get 34, 36, 38 miles on a full charge. And realistically, I mean, it's dropped 2 miles in the space of 1 mile, so it's going to be a case of, if you're really conservative with your right foot, then it might be more like 20, 25 miles. So I wouldn't rely entirely on the battery. Saying that though, the hybrid system itself is good because, in my opinion, the whole point of a hybrid system is you're not relying on one or the other. Or the way I see it is that you're still going to use it as a normal petrol car, but the hybrid system and the battery power is just there to sort of fill in the gaps, make the stop-start through town that little bit more economical, so you don't sort of feel the hit in your pocket as much every time you go to a petrol station. You see, because you won't be going to the petrol station as often. That's the way I look at hybrids, unless you obviously go down the silly route of a really high powered hybrid, then that is purely just there for extra power. But no, the combined workings of combustion and the electric drivetrain on this is probably for them long economy runs. EV is just a short little burst around town. You could commute on the EV power on its own, like, I don't know, if you were doing 10 miles each way for work, then you could probably do it on a single charge. Now the hybrid system, the way it's kind of working so far around town is it will give you an EV start to your journey. So as you pull off from the lights, it will just be electric power only, and as you get up to around 15, 20, 25 miles an hour, the petrol engine will then kick in and they'll work in harmony. But long term, I'm not sure how that would benefit the engine as such, because especially with turbocharged engines rather than naturally aspirated, you're meant to start the engine, give the engine a few seconds while it's on cold start to get the oil pumping around the engine, get the oil pumping around the bearings in the turbo and stuff like that. Because if you get in the car and go, you're going to be massively wearing out and reducing the engine's lifespan quite a bit. So I can't see how it's a good thing if you're doing 20 miles an hour and suddenly asking the engine to kick in and go straight up to a certain RPM from cold. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but obviously if you used sport mode from the get-go, the engine will kick in straight away. You could let it sit there and warm up for a minute before you start your journey. So if you have mechanical sympathy, I guess that's something you might want to think about. So obviously you can charge your car overnight and have a full battery, but how do you keep that charge in the battery when you're out and about driving? I think hybrid is where you're meant to have it, that obviously the petrol engine slightly trickle charges the battery system while you're driving, or you're letting off and you're coasting and things like that. But a few people have mentioned on the forums and that you actually get a better charge rate whilst driving if you're in the sport or extra boost mode, because the regen from the braking system, or the regenerative braking system, is stronger when in sport, so you get a better charge rate. Not sure how it works entirely, but we did try this on a drive recently, and it does actually work, that you get a better regenerative charge in sport. But then obviously you lose that charge when when you then driving, like accelerating away from places because you're in sport. So it's like a catch-22. Yeah, have that of what you will. Now again, because of all these different drivers modes, the sport, the hybrid, the electric, but then the sub menus in there as well, can get a little bit confusing in the spur of the moment blah. So let's just get out of this little town. Currently we're in hybrid mode, and if we just put it into sport mode, you can hear the engine drops a gear or two to keep the RPMs a little bit higher, a little bit more power, ready to go. But if you then go pulled back on the pedal again to put it in sport, it drops another gear. That little burst of energy. Oh, come on, brake. You can feel the brakes. With that extra weight behind them, feel the brakes working that little bit harder. You have to work the pedal a bit harder. Not the nicest feeling, because it gives you that quick doubt of, oh, I'm not going to stop in time. But I feel like there's either just a bit more heat in the brakes just so they bite a bit better. But yeah, you might have heard under that acceleration a minute ago, there's like an ambient electronic noise pumped into the cabin along with the engine noise, and that is the same sort of noise that is on the new electric i5 that I drove a couple of months ago, which is nice, because going through the different modes, they've kind of put all the different chimes and I don't know what you call it, ambient lighting and noises into the cabin as well, so it's giving you a bit more of that electric vibe and different noises. So like I never actually filmed it because I didn't find the modes until I was actually taking it back to BMW to drop it off. But one mode's like a spar, so as you push down on the accelerator, the more you push, the louder it gets, and the more it's pumped into the cabin. It sounds like a spar and wind chimes and things like that. And another mode is just like an electric woo noise kind of thing. Let's see if we can get it to do it again. It only comes in for a split second and then the engine noise kind of overtakes. So if we just go down a couple gears. There you go, it's just, and then the engine noise from the B48 comes in as well, sort of overpowers it. And it's just, there's quite a lot going on. Let's just, while we're going nice and slow, let's go back to electric mode. Oh, we have to change the drive mode because it won't let me go into electric. Let's try again. There we go. Engine's cut out, and let's put my foot down. Oh! It's just like different noises for every mode, and it's just like you can just play with that, and I feel like playing with the noises is just going to ruin your economy anyway, so because if you put your foot down a little bit, you can literally just about hear it over the road noise. You only really hear it when you put your foot down a lot, but then you ruin the economy. It definitely does get a bit livelier when you put it in extra boost mode. We chuck it around this little bit here. Ooh. You can definitely feel the weight shifting a little bit. So I feel like certain aspects of the car are better than others. There's obviously a bit of body roll due to the weight of the car, and you can sort of feel the car, well, the grip of the car start to lose the grip a lot sooner than other cars normally would. Yeah, it's going to be all down to weight and stuff. Now, first impressions with the EV side of things is I do like the quietness sometimes, like just during stop-start traffic, sometimes like no clutch, no engine noise, barely any road noise is quite a nice thing. I mean, I can drive through this little country bit, hear actually barely anything of the car, and just listen to nature and can hear all the birds chirping. It's nice, it's peaceful. But yeah, that only lasts for like so long, I guess. Before, I mean, I've even got the window open still, and normally I'd have it closed by now because of wind noise, road noise, whatever. but I feel like the 3 Series Touring is pretty much like the king of the road anyway. So it's off to a great start straight off the bat. But the hybrid system, I feel like, is going to be best for them long journeys for, like I said, commuters, businessmen that are travelling around and stuff all day, like living in the car kind of thing. And I feel like that's where you're going to see the biggest benefits of it. But as a family car around town and things like that, it's also great there. I feel like it suits them 2 categories of people really well. So I do like it. I just don't feel like, for me personally, a hybrid or the EV side of things is going to benefit me that much, really. And I'm also a bit lazy, and I wouldn't be bothered to charge it up every night and stick it on trickle charge and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely got its market and its benefits. For me personally, not so much. So yeah, that's just kind of my little eye-opener into the world of hybrid systems. Maybe if it was like more like the higher powered hybrid systems like the M5, I think, is that going to be a hybrid when that comes out, the new one? I can't remember now. But you know, on them sort of levels, you've got like the full M power potential coupled up with a hybrid system to really boost up them BHP figures. I feel like that is more my market as opposed to a 3 Series Touring sensible hybrid, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Let us know what you think, and thanks for watching. And I'll hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, I feel like the next video I'll be doing will be probably a Goodwood video, because I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks, or should I say honeymoon, for 2 weeks, so it's a bit hectic at the minute, hence why things have been quiet. And then after that, things will go back to normal, and we'll see what the rest of the year brings us regarding YouTube content. But I'm planning on being more active on the later half of the year. But yeah, if you like the video, let us know what you think down below. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you on the next one very soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.